What's up, everybody? Mike here, and I got another video here talking about some bad news, this time regarding Path Exile 1. This comes from the dev himself, the lead game director, who did a video on the Path Exile YouTube addressing the next expansion or a big update for Path Exile 1 and how essentially PoE 2 and development of PoE 2 and early access is essentially stalled and delayed the next big expansion. The game director Jonathan Rogers reminds us that initially they were planning to develop and update Path of Exile 1 and to simultaneously to kind of be their own games and stuff like that, but due to PoE 2 dropping the way it did and needing attention ASAP after it dropped, he had to essentially pull the PoE 1 team onto PoE 2, and they knew about this basically being a thing back as way as like as far back as like July after they dropped the latest expansion, Settlers expansion, I believe, for PoE 1. And he admits in this video talking about how he's fooling themselves, or they were fooling themselves, thinking that, yeah, they can try to get, some stuff done there, or at least get enough done to ship PoE 2 with that Path Exile 1 team members being on board, and maybe like by October be good. But then they had to delay PoE 2 by a few more weeks. Instead of launching in November, it launched in December. And then the holidays came up. And then he was thinking, well, maybe we can try to get out the next expansion by February. And that, unfortunately, is not going to be the case. So Grinding Gear Games has been forced into indefinitely delay an update for the first Path Exile, as they need the entire studio focused on resolving issues with the sequel. And this has upset many, many fans, rightfully so, because, yeah, on the one side, Grinding Gear Games has been praised for its transparency and its honesty and things like that, and keeping the community updated. And true, I agree with, for the most part, yes, they have been doing that. This, however, doesn't come off as transparency. This is something they knew about, and they decided to withhold information until now to tell us. And don't get me wrong, managing and developing two live service games like Path Exile 1 and Path Exile 2 simultaneously is no easy task. I personally don't know all the ins and outs as far as how much hard work goes into it, but you definitely need the right amount of people, the right amount of talent to make it work. You definitely need to be able to manage appropriately as far as where to utilize people at effectively. And Grinding Gear Games learned the hard way. They're going from just having to develop and keep up to date with one game to two. And that's new for them. They're learning, and I get that. They have also built up, I believe, enough goodwill, though, that I think a lot of people will forgive them for this. Personally, for me, I don't have a super deep attachment to the series overall. I never got super into Path Exile 1 yet. I haven't been a story like that. So, on a personal level, this delay doesn't bother me, but I know and I can understand how it would bother many people that are just playing PoE 1, don't even play PoE 2, or they're playing PoE 1 and PoE 2, and just longtime fans of these games or just the first game in these devs. It's just unfortunate because, yeah, originally the Path Exile 1's 3.26 update was supposed to come out in late October, right? Before being pushed to mid February of this year. Now it's been delayed once again until version 0.2.0 of Path Exile 2 is released. And Jonathan Rogers even says, even once this next Path Exile 2 update is out and shipped, that they'll probably still need at least a few more weeks even after, just to make sure things are going smooth and maybe address any other issues possibly with it, basically. But with a new game like PoE 2 and it being in early access, there are just numerous problems plaguing it and issues and bugs they have to address. It is the newer game, it's a new product. So I understand that they want to make sure they are getting the new game taken care of in proper care before returning to the first game to give its next expansion. And Jonathan Rogers even says he cannot promise a release date right now, and he's sorry for everything that has happened and admits they have still a lot to learn about managing two games at once. We were overly confident, and he's going to figure out how to structure the studio to make this work. So, me personally, I can forgive him for this, but at the same time, with him knowing this is going to be a thing or an issue prior to PoE 2's release, it's still kind of like not exactly transparency, in my opinion, because they could have easily said something before PoE 2 came out, but at the same time, if they did, that probably would have put a negative stain on PoE 2, and that probably would have affected sales most likely as well in the player base. But now, I don't know. Maybe they've built up good enough will that saying it now is better so that people be more forgiving, more understanding, but at the same time, it's still kind of like, come on, man. You know, it's just crazy. It sucks too because you got fans of the first game expecting the next big expansion update, the next league basically happened. They've been playing the same league for what 6 months or so now, and I'm guessing they're probably fed up with it or just tired or ready for some new content basically. And now they gotta wait even longer for new said content. Mind you though, Path of Exile 1 is free to play right now. PoE 2 is in early access, but it's paid early access. It'll be free to play once it goes into its 1.0 full release, which we still don't know for sure when that's going to happen. It could be this year, it could be next year. Hopefully, they can hire more people, bring more people on the team and keep them, and that way that can help them out to get all this managed better, get all this taken care of faster, things like that. I believe they are hiring for more people, but I think it's just more, New Zealand location type area because the devs are located in New Zealand. So they would prefer to hire people that are like local or like in Australia. That makes sense there. So I believe they are hiring. Just have to wait and see what happens with that. And hopefully they keep the people on. They don't, have to lay anybody off, don't have to fire anybody because of, the industry is doing a lot of that right now with layoffs and just firing people out of nowhere because either a game's doing poorly or even when a game is doing successfully, they'll still lay you off and not give a shit. And I would argue that Grinding Games is one of the better companies. It's not one of the best companies out there that treat their employees as best as possible with respect and care and things like that and try to make it a fun place to work at. There feels like there's not a ton of places like that these days in general. So it's nice to see that they are doing that. It sucks with how this wasn't exactly transparent like they've always done before, or at least not fully transparent because they knew this information prior to PoE 2's release that this could happen and didn't say anything until now. So I don't know. And you guys can feel how you want to about it. You guys can have your own opinions about it. You can be mad at them for it. That's fine. That's your right. Like I said, I'm going to forgive them on this one. I'm still going to play their game. I'm still having fun with PoE 2 despite the issues that are still plaguing the game. And I know they're going to fix it. I know they'll get back on track. Just got to give them time. Let them cook. They will get it done, guys. But what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments below. Are you mad at them? Are you still playing PoE 2 regardless? Are you playing PoE 1 still regardless? Or are you just taking a break from both games or just one of the games for now and playing other games? Let me hear from you in the comments below. If you still found this video helpful in some way, would appreciate a like, subscribe if you're new. And my name is Mike, and I'll see you in the next video.